Chords are harmonic blocks. To turn them into melodies, we need to chisel away at them, carve a path through them. Let's extract a melody from two different chord progressions. The first will be a chromatic chord progression, a chord progression where we don't care at all about staying in a key. Chromatic chord progressions can sound pretty weird, but that's what makes them fun. Take a listen. To carve a melody, let's mute all of these notes. Now, for the first chord, G minor 11, we'll start our melody with the top note. Then we'll move down, cascading through the chord one note at a time in eighth notes. Let's play the lowest note along with the first and last note of this four-note cascade. For the second chord, B flat minor 11, let's go the other way. We'll cascade up from the lowest note to the highest note. We still have quite a lot of room here, so let's repeat the cascade a second time. The chord progression then repeats the first chord, G minor 11. But to smoothly transition to it, let's repeat the second highest note of our chord so that it steps up to the top note of the next chord. We'll repeat the same downward cascade we carved the first time we encountered G minor 11. For the fourth chord, A flat minor 11, let's use an upward cascade. To create some symmetry, we'll mirror the second chord and repeat our upward cascade a second time. To turn back around to the beginning, we'll repeat the second highest note, and then repeat the second lowest note, but move it up an octave and position it at the very end of our loop. Let's double the loop so that we can add a small variation at the turnaround. Let's hear how it sounds with bass and drums. That's our chromatic chord progression, where we are completely ignoring any notion of key. Now, let's create our second chord progression, which will be a diatonic chord progression, a chord progression where every note and chord is in the key. Take a listen. Since our first chord is G minor 11, the key we will be living within is G minor. Since we are starting with the same chord, let's unify the two chord progressions by using the same downward cascade. This time, we will use the root and fifth in the bottom, G and D, which forms a power chord. Now, the chord progression moves from G minor 11, the 1 chord, to the flat 6 chord, E flat 6 9. Let's start by mirroring the first chord and adding the root and fifth, E flat and B flat, another power chord. And now, let's allow the A from G minor 11 to fall down to G. The top three notes are shared with the first chord. These are common tones. Since they are gliding over both chords, there's no need to interrupt their flight by replaying them. Instead, let's let them coast over both chords. These two chords repeat in bars 3 and 4 and then 5 and 6. No need to get overly fancy. Let's repeat bars 1 and 2 here. In bar 7, we have B flat major 9 over D, a pseudo 5 chord. Let's continue our downward cascade. Then, let's play the next chord, the 4 chord, C minor 9, all at once. And then we'll play the last chord, the flat 7 chord, C minor 9 over F, with some syncopation. We'll play it twice, first on an offbeat 8th note, and then on an offbeat 16th note. 2 flavors of syncopation. Now let's check out how the mood changes between the chromatic and diatonic chord progression. To me, the chromatic chord progression becomes increasingly unsettling, while the diatonic chord progression becomes increasingly predictable. As each progression starts to go a bit too far, switching to the other balances it out. We have been using upward and downward motion, but nothing is stopping you from getting wild with it and scrambling all of the notes up. Create your own chord progressions and try it out. Get hands-on with the chromatic and diatonic realms and see how they make you feel. To learn more of these kinds of ideas and approaches and how to bring them into your music, check out my Chords That Vibe course bundle. And if you want a full toolkit that gives you instant access to these kinds of chords, drum patterns, bass lines, and melodies, then check out Vible Volume 1. You'll find all of the links below. Until next time, farewell.